Hey everyone, Rich Gasaway here. I'm really excited to announce I have a new way for your department, agency, or association to get trained on situational awareness and high-risk decision-making. This is by far the most affordable and convenient way to get all of your members trained on this important topic. It's called virtual training. I'll work with your training staff to set up a live, via the internet, training for your members on the date and the time of your regular departmental training. So if, for example, your training is on Tuesday nights from 7 to 9 p.m., then that is when we'll do the virtual training, including live interaction with me. We'll do it on your Tuesday night from 7 to 9 p.m. If your department training is on Thursday mornings from 8 to 10, then that's when we'll do the training. You get the idea. I come to you virtually and train your members on situational awareness. If you want to learn more about the training opportunities of virtual training, just go to samatters.com, scroll down the home page, and the topics are listed in orange under the heading Virtual Training Programs. Honestly, it can't get any easier or affordable. All right, and I forgot to mention, you also get access to a playback of that training for 60 days to train any of your members who may have missed the live training. All right, enough of the pre-show stuff. Roll that podcast intro. Today's episode is sponsored by Midwest Fire. For more than 20 years, Midwest Fire has been manufacturing high-quality tankers, tanker pumpers, and fire rescue vehicles in the United States and Canada. Keeping firefighters safe while enhancing their capabilities is what they do best. To learn more, go to MidwestFire.com.
This is Captain Eric Dryman from the Indianapolis Fire Department, and you are listening to the SA Matters radio show with Dr. Rich Gasaway. The SA Matters mission is simple. They want to help us see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes.
Hello, and welcome to episode 188 of the Situational Awareness Matters radio show. I'm your host, Rich Gasaway. The purpose of this show is to improve situational awareness and decision-making for individuals and teams who work in high-risk, high-consequence, time-compressed environments with changing conditions. The SA Matters mission is simple: to help you see the bad things coming in time to avoid bad outcomes. Did you know that I've been sharing this message of situational awareness and high-risk decision-making in live program events for 12 years now, and have trained just over 62,000 students, including first responders, industrial workers, military personnel, business leaders, medical professionals, utility workers, aviation workers, and more. Really, this is a message for anyone who works in an environment that is high-risk and high consequence. If you or someone you know could benefit from training on situational awareness and high-risk decision-making, just ask them to reach out to me by visiting the samatters.com site and clicking on the Contact Us tab. If you're new to this podcast, you got some homework to do by going back and listening to some of the past episodes. I've released a new episode of this podcast every Tuesday. I've never missed a week for more than 3 years. No other podcast focused on improving safety even comes close to this track record. And I do this for you, the listeners of this show. You truly inspire me. And let me say this, I'm here for the long run. And for so long as I'm able, I'll continue to share this message, a message of hope and a message of inspiration and a message of encouragement for anyone who works in high-risk environments. I want to make sure you know how to develop and maintain strong situational awareness, and you know how to make quality, high-risk decisions. I'm dedicated to improving your safety and your survival, and to helping you accomplish the most important goal of all, and that's to go home to the ones who love you. And speaking of sharing the message, today I'm coming to you from Billings, Montana, again, where I'm in town to deliver programs for the employees of Phillips 66 Refinery. Again. This is the second visit this month. They have too many employees to get all the training done in one session, so we're doing it in two sessions. And thank you to Safety Director Ben Adelman for the opportunity to share this important message with your employees and members of the emergency response community from all throughout Montana. Earlier this month, I was at the VCOS Symposium. That stands for Volunteer and Combination Officer Section. It's a section of the International Association of Fire Chiefs dedicated to those who are in volunteer and combination departments. Anyhow, I was at the VCOS Symposium, and I got to award the Emerging Leader Scholarship to Fire Chief Joseph Bartos from the West Point, Virginia Fire Department. This is the 8th year that I've sponsored this scholarship for an emerging leader to attend the VCOS Symposium. It's my way of paying it forward and giving back. I would also like to acknowledge Scott Township Fire Chief Adam Farrar. Adam was the 2015 scholarship winner, and he has stepped up, and he's paying it forward by personally contributing $1,000 toward the scholarship. That's solid leadership. Thank you, Chief Farrar, for that. Earlier this year, I did a 2-day situational awareness program in Evansville, Indiana. And the Evansville Fire Chief, Mike Conley, did an amazing job of getting sponsors for the event. From Chief Conley's effort, the 2-day event cost his department, are you ready for it? $0. That's right, didn't cost him anything. He paid for the whole thing with sponsorships. I tell departments all the time, you can host great training events, mine or someone else's, by getting sponsors. Usually the suggestion is met with skepticism, but not for Chief Conley. He just said, show me how, and I did. And he went out and he asked for sponsors, and he came back and told me it really wasn't that hard to do. He asked and they stepped up. Sponsors for the Evansville event included Vectern, that's their gas and electric company. Look to them, especially if you're doing safety programs. Deaconess Hospital, University of Southern Indiana, Evansville Firefighters Credit Union, Old National Bank, Global Emergency Products, Hoosier Fire Equipment, Mission Barbecue, Public Safety Medical, Siegel's Uniforms. Whew. When the dust settled on his sponsorship efforts, he was able to secure $15,000 in sponsorships. That paid for the program. That paid for a situational awareness book for every attendee. That paid for the venue. It provided lunch for all the attendees for both days. And because all of that added together didn't total $15,000, Chief Conley now has money to seed another program. And that's exactly what he's done. He has scheduled 2 more programs with me in 2018. A full-week leadership development program for his department and a 2-day situational awareness program, which will be in August. He was able to use the residual sponsorship money, and he secured additional sponsors for these new programs. I tell departments with limited budgets all the time, this is the way to go. And it is. If you want to host great training and have limited resources, contact me. I'll help you to do what Evansville did. Host a program that may cost your department nothing. I always say, where the will is strong, a way can be found. This training program, this topic, situational awareness, and high-risk decision-making, it's a game changer. And how do I know that? Because the attendees tell me all the time. They tell me at break, they tell me at lunch, they tell me at the end of the day. They send me emails, they post it on their social media. Understanding how to develop and maintain situational awareness can truly, and I mean truly, save your life. There is no simpler way to say it. One of the questions I get asked all the time from readers and listeners are, when are you going to come to my area? Or where can I attend a program at? The answer to that is really easy to find out. I've created a link on my homepage of the website for upcoming events. It's the blue box on the right side of the homepage. Just go to samatters.com, scroll down the right side, click on that blue box, and it'll tell you all the upcoming event dates, and locations. Here's something else you might want to know. If you want to save some money hosting a program, and seriously, who doesn't want to save some money, right? Then contact me about hosting a companion program. If you see I'm going to be within a couple of hours of where your department is, you can sign on to be a companion, which means your program is on an adjoining day to an already scheduled program, and that can save you as much as 20% off the travel costs. Well, 20%, which is the travel costs. I've done over 100 of these companion programs, and no one ever complains about saving money. Figure that out. That's what I call a win-win scenario. In today's feature segment, I'm going to talk about what happens when the information you gather during a size-up does not match the expectations of what you thought you were going to be seeing or hearing. In other words, when the puzzle pieces don't fit together. All right, let's jump into the feature segment. And when we're done, stick around, and I'm going to tell you where and when you can attend an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters Tour Stop event. The med unit is responding to a report of a person down in a hotel room. While en route, dispatch notifies them that CPR is in progress. As they arrive, police officers meet them outside and tell them that there are now 2 victims and CPR is in progress on both. The officers further advise the scene is secure. The paramedics enter the hotel and make their way down the corridor to a room where they see police officers have 2 elderly victims on the floor, and CPR is in progress on both of them. It seems kind of odd to have 2 cardiac arrests in the same room at the same time, but the medics don't question it. They just get down to business of working the codes. But things are about to take a turn for the worse. An engine company has also been dispatched to provide additional manpower to the scene. On a hunch, the company officer took a carbon monoxide monitor into the hotel. His intuition paid off. 600 parts per million is the reading. The cardiac arrest victims are immediately extricated from the environment. The police officers are now suffering the ill effects of carbon monoxide poisoning and have also become victims. Why didn't the police officers or paramedics consider carbon monoxide poisoning as a potential cause? There are several plausible explanations. Clue dismissal. Sometimes there are clues and cues right in front of us that, after the fact, seem very obvious, but at the minute the incident was unfolding, it may not have seemed so obvious. For example, why didn't anyone question why there were 2 cardiac arrest patients in the same room? Doesn't that seem odd? It did to the company officer, but not to the police officers or the paramedics. Sometimes if clues don't fit what you think is going on, you may dismiss those clues, sometimes subconsciously. Task fixation. The police officers and the medics were focused on the task of saving lives. They had 2 cardiac arrest victims, and it was an all-hands working event. Everyone's attention was on saving the lives of those 2 elderly victims. Fixation on a task, especially a stressful task like CPR, can cause a first responder to miss important clues and cues. Fixation on a task is like wearing blinders. You're so focused on what you're doing that you're not paying attention to the other clues and cues around you. If you're a horse on a racetrack, it may be good not to pay attention to the other horses. But if you're a first responder at an emergency scene, blinders are not advised. Desensitization. As it turns out, this hotel was well known to the police and medics because of the number of previous responses to that facility for drug-related emergencies. When responders have multiple responses to the same address for the same problem, they may start to assume each subsequent call will be just another one of the same. When dispatched to a person down at a hotel, responders may have presumed it was another drug overdose because of the number of previous overdose calls they had responded to at that address in the past. Plausibility. How realistic is it that a hotel would have a significant carbon monoxide emergency and it would not set detectors off? Quite plausible if there are no detectors. But hotels would have working carbon monoxide detectors, right? Not necessarily. In this particular hotel, in this particular state, carbon monoxide detectors are not required for hotels, and there were none present. Nonetheless, the occurrence of carbon monoxide poisoning in hotels is a relatively infrequent event, and frequent enough that it would perhaps not seem implausible that carbon monoxide was not the causation. Action-oriented. Even if the police and medics would have suspected a carbon monoxide problem, would that have prevented them from entering the structure when they were met on their arrival by hotel staff screaming, "There are 2 people not breathing in room 101. Chances are they would have still went in. On the outside chance the police and medics would have been equipped with carbon monoxide monitors, which in this case they weren't, would it have been likely that they would have used them? Odds are not in their favor. There are a few things that could have increased the chances that using a monitor would have occurred if they would have had one. Those include a policy existing that require the use of carbon monoxide monitors on multiple victim indoor incidents, and further assuming that they followed that policy. They had other substantial clues and cues tipping them off to the potential of a carbon monoxide problem. They had recently completed carbon monoxide training, and the equipment and the topic were fresh on their minds. They were aware of recent incidents involving carbon monoxide poisoning, and the possibility was thus, again, on their mind. The unstressed company officer. The company officer who thought of the carbon monoxide and therefore decided to monitor the environment had a distinct advantage. He was not intimately involved in the patient care. He could, dare I say, maintain a big picture view of the incident. There was enough personnel working the codes that the company officer had the ability to assess the bigger picture. Additionally, his cognitive capacity was not overloaded with the task of CPR. This gave him a distinct advantage. If the company officer were not alert, he could have easily overlooked the carbon monoxide problem as well. As it turns out, he'd not responded to the numerous drug overdoses at the hotel, so he was not predispositioned to prejudge the cause of these 2 cardiac arrests. The fact there were 2 cardiac arrests at the same time in the same room flew very big red flags for this company officer. His intuition told him something isn't right. The circumstances here were odd enough to get him wondering how it could be so. Absent all clues of foul play, and any indications of a double suicide, the company officer's training and intuition kicked in. He recalled learning that carbon monoxide in dwellings often affects all the inhabitants, and multiple victims feeling ill at the same residence should always lead to ruling out carbon monoxide poisoning as a cause. In fact, he actually recalled an episode of Rescue 911 where 11 people were sickened in a home from carbon monoxide poisoning. The civilian victims did not survive, but the first responders did. The police officers and EMS personnel owe their lives to a company officer with strong situational awareness. Never assume that the next call is routine or more of the same. There are way too many variables in building construction, in fire behavior, and in the nuances of human behavior to ever assume any call is routine. As you respond to a call, always ask yourself what you might be overlooking, especially if things don't seem to make sense or if the circumstances are novel, something you've never seen before. In the case of this call, it is not common to have 2 cardiac arrest patients that are not the result of trauma or violence. That should fly red flags. This story speaks volumes to the need to have someone hands-off performing the duties of the big picture incident commander. You may not think of an EMS call as the type of an emergency that needs an incident commander. However, the non-task involved company officer, this incident might have ended very differently and more tragically for all of the responders. I have a favor to ask of you. You, the one listening to this podcast right now. You, the one on the treadmill. You, the one who's driving your car right now. You, the one who's taking your dog for a walk. And even you, the one who's falling asleep while you're listening to this episode. Wake up! I need your help. I need a favor. I launched this podcast to give voice to the people who've had near-miss events. The stories that have been shared with me at live events have been amazing and very educational. In case you missed the episodes where I interviewed the 3 folks from St. Charles Fire Department in a 3-part series, it's bone-chilling. Go back and listen to their near-miss story. We need more lessons like this shared with this larger audience. So if you've experienced or witnessed a near-miss on the job and would like to have a platform to share your lessons learned with others, contact me by visiting the samatters.com site and clicking the Contact Us tab on the homepage. Think about it for a moment. The lessons learned from your on-the-job near-miss could save someone else's life. That's really powerful. What a wonderful gift it would be. If you want to share your experience, just contact me. If you want to send me some feedback, I'd love to hear from you. Just go to the website, click the Contact Us tab, or you can give me feedback on Facebook or Twitter or LinkedIn as well. I want to take a moment to thank the departments and the agencies that have hosted some recent Situational Awareness Matters tour stop events. I do this to show my appreciation to the departments who put forth the effort to organize, advertise, and fund great training experiences for their employees. Recent tour stops have included Phillips 66 Refinery ×2, the Badger Firemanship Conference, the VCOS Symposium in the Sun, the Norfolk County Fire Chiefs Association, and Syncrude Canada, a crude oil refinery located in Fort McMurray, Alberta, Canada. If you want to attend an upcoming Situational Awareness Matters tour stop event, you could join me on December 5th and at the All Hazards Incident Management Team Association Conference in San Diego. December 7th and 8th, I'll be in Niagara Falls, Ontario. December 9th and 10th, Woodstock, Ontario. December 11th, Canfield, Ohio. December 12th, Wintersville, Ohio. December 13th, a day program in Elyria, Ohio, and an evening program in Solon, Ohio. December 14th, a day program in Twinsburg, Ohio, and an evening program in Solon, Ohio. January 10 and 11, Henrico County, Virginia. January 20th, the BX Swan Lake Fire Department in Alberta, Canada. January 21, Penticton Fire Department in Alberta, Canada. January 27th, St. Louis, Michigan. Remember me talking about the companion programs earlier to save money? That's what Ontario and Ohio are doing in December and January. These folks saved a combined almost $6,000. If you want to see a location of all the upcoming Situational Awareness Matters Tour Stop events, just head over to the SA Matters website, click that blue box on the right side where you can see the upcoming events. Just know the schedule is always changing, so check back often. If you're interested in hosting a Situational Awareness Matters Tour Stop, I'm booking now for 2018. So if your company, agency, association, regional conference, state conference, or national conference is looking for a program, a safety program or a leadership program, just have them contact me. I have great staff. They'll make the entire process easy. I promise. The last time I delivered programs in southwest Minnesota, I stopped and visited my sponsor, Midwest Fire. Midwest Fire is a fire truck manufacturing company that makes amazing all-poly-bodied fire apparatus, and it's changing the industry. You really need to check them out. You really do. Go to MidwestFire.com. That's MidwestFire.com. Anyhow, while I was there, I got a chance to sit down and talk to some of their employees about what separates Midwest Fire from their competitors. Let's listen into a conversation I had here with account executive Dalton Lingbeck about custom-built and stock apparatus and inventory and how to get started on the process for designing and building a Midwest fire truck. All right, Dalton, do you guys do you do custom builds, or do you do stock builds, or do you do both? Do you maintain an inventory of trucks that people can just, buy today and have delivered tomorrow? How does all that work?
Well, we actually do both, and as much as we can keep stock trucks on hand, we have an inventory, but that's the hard part. We do a lot of custom trucks every year. It's what we do. I mean, we are here to build what the department needs. But we also do stock trucks because a lot of people are in immediate need of a truck. We do stock 3000s, we do stock 2000s, we do stock brush trucks. It really depends on what has gone out the door. We try to slot out 2 production spots a quarter for stock units. And on our website, you'll see stock units on our website. You'll see descriptions for them. You'll see specs, but they're not necessarily always in stock. They're standard builds, quote unquote. So the best thing for you to do is if you're in need of a truck sooner than later, don't hesitate and call us up and see what we have on hand. Because right now, I'm looking out the window into our showroom, and we have a stock 3000 sitting there right now. It's ready to go whenever, whoever needs it.
Yeah, Dalton, you just threw a question into my mind. And if somebody is, thinking at some point they're going to need a fire truck, how far in advance of needing a fire truck should somebody at least start to make an inquiry and start to have a conversation and establish a rapport and relationship? I'm guessing it's something short of waking up today and saying we need a truck tomorrow, but putting some thought in the process of what would we want our new truck to have and whether they have a committee or not. How far you have a lot of dealings with a lot of customers, and I'm sure you see ones that really have it together and ones that are struggling and challenged. How far out for those ones that you would call the success stories? How far out before they actually get to a purchase does this dance or this process begin of working with somebody who can help them through the process?
Well, if I understand your question correctly, we're going to kind of not include the people that need an apparatus immediately.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah.
Most success stories, honestly, are 6 months and more. You really want to get an idea of what truck you need and what truck you guys are going to spec out. The specking out process is the hardest part because you're talking with a lot of people trying to get ideas on the paper, and that's what we are here for. We're here to talk about that. But the cool thing with us is obviously, like I said in a previous question, is that we are direct communication, right? We're directly at the facility. So all questions that we can answer are going to be answered no matter what. But what you want to do is you want to get specs on the paper, you want to go through those specs, and you want to make sure everything is accurate, because the worst thing that can happen is for a truck to be incomplete or wrong when you take delivery of it. That's what we try to make sure does not happen. So like I said, try to prepare as long as you can beforehand. Obviously, there are situations where it can build up, a couple weeks, and here we go. We try to make it as easy as possible for you, try to make it as comfortable as possible for you. But yeah, prepare.
Oh, there you go. If you're thinking about buying a truck, don't wake up on Monday and say, we need to buy a truck on Tuesday. Put some thought into it. Reach out to Midwest Fire, have some conversations, and start to get some ideas flowing. As you heard from Dalton, the best success stories are those that start about 6 months before they're going to actually buy the truck, of just gathering thoughts and ideas and trying to see what's available and what's best for them. So check them out, MidwestFire.com. Thank you to Midwest Fire President Sarah Atchison and all your staff for your awesome commitment to improving the safety of first responders. I really appreciate your support of my mission. Hey, if you're not part of the SA Matters community of learners yet, you should consider joining. There are over 50,000 people connected here through my newsletter, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, sharing ideas about how to improve situational awareness, how to make better decisions under stress, and how to train employees to be critical thinkers and resilient problem solvers. If you want to join, just go to the red box on the right side of the website, and there is a join box there. Or I've made it even easier for you. You can just, on a smartphone, text SA Matters to 22828. That's the letter S as in Sam, the letter A as in Adam, and the word matters, all together as one word, SA Matters, to 22828. You get a message back about getting access to my program handouts too. You can consider that just a bonus for signing up. If you want to get connected with me on Twitter, you can follow @RichGasaway on Twitter. You can get connected with me on LinkedIn by searching Rich Gasaway on LinkedIn. You can watch my videos on the SA Matters TV YouTube channel, SA Matters TV, all together. Over 600 videos there, including one I recently uploaded from my World Tour event. And you can also get connected with me on Facebook by liking the SA Matters page on Facebook. Finally, if you know of a agency or company that would like to advertise their products or services on this podcast and through my social media connections, have them contact me. The podcast has enjoyed over 250,000 downloads, and I show my love to my sponsors also with my social media, through my social media connections. During my world tour, I wore clothing items from my podcast sponsor, Midwest Fire, and shared pictures of me wearing their garb in Australia, New Zealand, the Netherlands, and Belgium. Will it get them more business? I don't know. But they've been my sponsor for over 3 years running, so I'm guessing they see some value in being connected with my mission. Well, that's it. Episode 188 is complete. Thank you to our awesome podcast sponsor, Midwest Fire. Thank you to all the companies and agencies and organizations that have hosted live events. Thank you to all who've attended the live virtual training events that we're doing now. Thank you to the more than 1,000 students enrolled in the SA Matters Online Academy. And most importantly, thank you, the listeners of this podcast show, for sharing some of your valuable time with me today. I really appreciate your support of my mission. Be safe out there, and may the peace of the Lord and strong situational awareness be with you always.
You've been listening to the Situational Awareness Matters radio show with Dr. Richard B. Gasaway. If you are interested in learning more about situational awareness, human factors, and decision-making under stress, visit samatters.com. If you are interested in booking Dr. Gasaway for an upcoming event, visit his personal website at richgasaway.com.